Sing of your glory and majesty. Lift up my voice on the Spirit's wings. You're alive. You're alive in me.
Words can never express the wonder of your love for me. Deeds can never repay the debt that I owe eternally.
But I'll bring you the praise of a grateful heart. Sing of your glory and majesty. Lift up my voice on the Spirit's wings. You're alive. You're alive in me.
I may not understand the mystery of grace, rich and free. I could never explain the mercy that reached out to me. But I'll bring you the praise of a grateful heart. Sing of your glory and majesty. Lift up my voice on the Spirit's wings. You're alive. You're alive. Yes, I bring you the praise of a grateful heart. Sing of your glory and majesty. Lift up my voice on the Spirit's wings. You're alive. You're alive in me. You're alive. Yes, I bring you the praise of a grateful heart. Sing of your glory and majesty. Lift up my voice on the Spirit's wings. You're alive. You're alive. Yes, I bring you the praise of a grateful heart. Sing of your glory and majesty. Lift up my voice on the Spirit's wings. You're alive. You're alive in me. You're alive in me. When I feel I can't go on, I need to know that I belong. When everything right seems wrong, you carry me. When the road ahead is tough, I'm so close to giving up, but I fall into your arms and you carry me. You watch over me every step I take, every breath I make. I believe you watch over me every step I take, every breath I make. I believe. Oh, I give all I am to you, and I trust you'll see me through. Deep down I know you've loved me from the start, and if all the world around me was to fall apart, I'd always have you, the king of my heart. ice and the snow, when my strength has gone, you are the melody of every glorious song. You watch over me every step I take, every breath I make. I believe you watch over me every step I take, every breath I make. I believe. Oh, I give all I am to you, and I trust you'll see me through. Deep down I know you loved me from the start. When I was lost, you found me, wrapped your loving arms around me. Deep down I know, yes, deep down I know, you're king of my heart, king of my heart. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Well, good evening everybody, and welcome to JV Live from the Steinway Room, and a slightly different JV from the Steinway Room, a historic week, historic days, one after the other really. One after the other. I put the microphone on now. Welcome to JV Live from the Steinway Room, and it's a slightly different one tonight. We're not going to be down, and we're not going to be miserable. We'll celebrate a life lived, actually.
We do.
But we do recognise that there is an official period of mourning. We have a lovely guest in tonight who is a best-selling author, a lovely, lovely man. I was just chatting to him again, and you're going to love his stories. He's got stories to tell, and he's lived a very varied life, and now he's written 15 or 16 books, I think. Each one you're gonna basically.
So what we've been doing, we've only done 2.
We've only done 2 books, and we feel very lazy. However, he wasn't an international megastar opera singer. But we're going to celebrate just a little bit of her life, just for a few minutes, and just think about, have a moment. Last night we did a concert, and we had the moment, and we had to sing that moment. We had to sing "God Save Our Gracious King." I led that. Of the congregation.
That required a bit of concentration, I have to say.
God save our gracious King. Long to reign over us, God save our King. She reigned for 70 years, and even to the end. And we'll talk about that a bit further. But I thought we'd just start with a beautiful hymn that actually she would have loved, and was sung at nearly every FA Cup final for years and years and years, and that many of which she would have attended, and it would have actually reflected the very strong Christian faith that she possessed, and we absolutely apologise not at all for celebrating that Christian faith that kept her and her rule and her integrity and her truth and the way that she reigned over us for those 70 years. Let's just listen to this now.
Well, not Piano Man, but rather beautiful, I thought, and so appropriate. Really lovely.
And every time
really lovely.
that hymn is just such a moving hymn for me when I recorded it. And every time I hear it, I do hold down thy cross before my dying eyes. It's so. Whatever you feel about faith, actually, it's abide with me and be with me, be close to me. You know, that's be near me, Lord Jesus, and ask thee to stay close by me forever. And what is it that we want at that moment? You know, is that moment we want somebody. We don't want to die alone, and we want to hold the hand going into. What are your impressions this week, Sue? Because it's been quite interesting, you know, looking at other people and seeing how we both feel. And
I have to say, we've had a sort of quite a week, really. We popped in to see Adrian and Nicola Pinnock this week, and Nicola greeted us with, well, this is some kind of record. You've had your Ruby anniversary, you've had your 100 shows, and the Queen, who's been alive for 70 years, dies, and we have a new king. Anything else that's going to happen this week? So it has been an extraordinary week. None of us were expecting it, and
we were. No, you see, this is the thing, isn't it?
We were and we weren't. I mean, I think that's it, really. And I think Stuart's hit the nail on the head because Pete, Jill, you said something really interesting. You said, you know, isn't it sad that we often only realise how lovely someone is, how wonderful someone is, when they go? And I think that's often true. Yeah. And Stuart, you said, I think we knew that she was an amazing lady, but hearing the stories galore, she was even more so. And I think that's, you know, as the days have gone on, and there's, you know, obviously there's endless coverage, but you sort of end up with your mouth open and thinking, oh my word, she touched all these people, she spoke to these people, she had time for people. And I think that was extraordinary. I think that's what I'm picking up, that although she was the Queen and she had this position in the country, she didn't take herself above everyone. She just always had time for people. And someone commented that it was always when you were talking to the Queen, she was speaking to you.
She held the gaze.
She didn't look over your shoulder to see if there was someone more important behind you. And I think that's an extraordinary quality in someone in that kind of position.
It's true. And we just wanted to kind of reflect on that, really, rather than just dance gaily into
Piano Man.
The next guest. You know, but I think we will be talking a lot about it because it affects all of us. 70 years is so long. I'm 61. She's been there all the time for my life. And she's been there, Sue, for all of your 73 years, hasn't she, as well?
Isn't he? I mean, we are Elizabethans through and through, aren't we, really? We've known nothing different. I mean, my mother at 94 obviously remembered the previous king, but the majority of us, it's always been Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, it has. It's quite important. Now, listen, I think actually that we tinge it with, and I think somebody also wrote, Sue, that it's right that we celebrate. Who was it?
Sharon Wilson. Said it is sad, but also let's celebrate her life because what a life she lived and what a wonderful lady. And Sharon, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's good to celebrate her life, and we do. And
I think actually that my special guest, he said that's what. He said that he met the Queen a number of times. She's going to tell you stories. Got some great stories. And said that this is what she would want you to celebrate her life and be positive. And that's why I think actually that for me, she is gone, but in a kind of a way, you know, at the age of 94.
She was 96.
96, sorry, not 94.
My mother's 94.
No, that's right. I was getting confused with all the 90s. I got my dad who's 90. Your mother is 94 and the Queen is 96. And actually, in a kind of way, you were expecting it. She was getting to the point where she wasn't able to function anymore, and the loss of her husband, which is very sad. I'm gonna sing a couple of songs. One very positive, and one actually just commemorative of the people that have lost. To the people that have lost, and the funeral I was singing at a week ago yesterday. I was standing outside and listening to the service, just trying to get my head together. And there's a song that the leaves were starting to fall, and you know what I'm going to say. And it was about the fall of the autumn leaves, and I miss you most of all. And I think actually that's the thing that for many people they've lost in the community here, and they want to sing. But before we do that, I think actually we're just going to have a little bit of Wonderful World, because that's what we live in.
celebrate the goodness amidst all the difficulty.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They really say, I love you. Well, I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, oh, what a wonderful Veira, flugelhorn. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They really say, I love you and you. Well, I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, I think to myself, what a wonderful wonderful
lovely flugelhorn of the legendary flugelhorn player Raul Veira, with Mark Edwards on piano, Arnie Sauvagy on bass, and Daniel Beckett on drums. And it's really a pleasure singing that song on a day like this. Also, we need to sometimes just think about the sad stuff, as Karen Bates said, and naturally try and put our finger on the pulse of where we are. And so many people have lost. And for so many people, it's said in an article today, often it's not just about the Queen going, but it might be a member of your own family and somebody that was close to you. And I sing this song in memory of Leslie Sutton, who came in some time ago and she was dying of cancer. She had terminal cancer. She did an interview with us, many of you remember. Lovely artist. And Pete Jewell was correct, wasn't he? That we found out so much about Leslie when we got to the funeral. Things that I didn't know about her. Do you agree?
Yes, extraordinary, actually. I mean, we knew her as a lovely person, and we knew about her being a lovely mum and how kind she was and how much she cared for her neighbours, but her whole artistic world and how she encouraged people and faith through that was a real eye-opener.
You'll be missed, my darling. I sing this also for her dear husband Roger, a great friend of mine. Falling leaves drift by my window. The falling leaves are red and gold. I see your lips, the summer kisses, sunburned hands. Oh, I used to hold. Since you went away, the days grow long, and soon I'll hear old winter song. But I miss you most of all, my darling, you. When autumn leaves start to fall. But I miss you most of all.
my darling you. When autumn leaves start to
Well done.
Let's
Wasn't
hear
sure you would be able to do it.
it. No, I wasn't sure.
Well done.
There are many
Beautiful,
things.
beautiful.
Do you know, so let's get on with the next song, shall we?
Yeah, which
'Cause I
one do you
think
want?
It is well.
Oh, okay. Let me find it for you.
Okay, and I think actually that this song, for me, during these times, it's, although it may not be well with my head sometimes, it is well with my soul.
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my loss, you have taught me to say, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. Though Satan should buffet, though trial should come, that is blessed assurance control, that Christ has regarded my helpless estate and has shed his own blood for my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. And Lord, haste the day when my faith shall be signed, the clouds be rolled back as a scroll, the trumpet shall sound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. It is well.
And that is for so many of you. I know that we are grieving for the fact that we've lost the Queen this week, but for many of you, the losses are carrying on. We think of lovely Dawn Khan, who hosted us at her church before Christmas, I think it was, back in the autumn, and she lost her husband, her lovely husband, on Wednesday. We are thinking also of Samantha. You mentioned that you lost your friend Jean on Monday. And Michael Cooper, you are struggling with your treatments, and so we think of you. And Lynn, the same for you. You're coping with pain and all that means. And for all of you who are struggling, that it may be not well with our mind or with our body, but actually it can be well with our soul.
I think that's something we probably need to grasp, actually. And I need you to know too that I've been in that place. Okay, that's the thing, that we have these experiences, and I was there, very much so. I can't talk about it without getting emotional, because it is an emotional time. But we sing for you, and you are our friend. Okay, remember that song that I'm going to make I've made my credo, and for the next however long I've here, you know, take me to the alley, take me to the afflicted ones, take me to the lonely ones who somehow lost their way. Let them hear me say, I am your friend. Eat here at my table, rest here in my garden. You will find a pardon. And that's for all of you, actually.
Indeed.
Who are somehow, you might have lost your way. Well, that's what the JV community exists to do.
Indeed.
Sue, over to you, and then we've got to invite our
What, for my
guests in, I think.
notices?
Yes.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, right, let me just...
It's 8:33,
okay,
8:32.
You did say that's what you were going to do,
That's
right?
what I'm gonna do, and he's waiting for us now.
Apologies, people. I'm running the show tonight, but we're hanging on in there, so we're doing all right.
She's doing really well.
Okay, right. So let's just have a think about where you can catch up with JV live, not from the Steinway room, but actually in a church near you. We had a great time in Westcliff last night. That was great fun.
Great fun.
And,
thank you, Judy Matthews.
Yeah, well done,
And the
Judy
whole
Matthews.
team.
And the whole team. It was a great team. We felt really welcome at the church. And it was just a fantastic evening. And lots of laughter and lots of fun. And this Friday we're going to be in lovely Worthing, so if you're near Worthing, come along and see Jonathan at the Worthing Tab in Worthing. And then the last weekend of September we are travelling up to Barrow in Furness.
Yes.
And we're going to be at St Mark's, so again, if you're up in the northwest, come along there, and you will have a wonderful time. Lots of laughter, lots of wonderful music, and the most
Rachel.
amazing
And
light
Claire.
show from Rachel and Claire. So you'll see all of us there if you come. So that would be fantastic. I know a few of you have got tickets already, but still keep thinking about these dates that you can join us. Just quickly mentioning October, we are going to be in Shottery near Stratford-upon-Avon. Romsey will be at the CRE on the 13th at Sandown Park. On the 15th, we're going to be in Stoke-on-Trent, or near Stoke-on-Trent. On the 22nd, we're actually going to be in southwest Wales, which will be fantastic. So near
First trip. I haven't been there for years. That's right,
and,
you know.
And then the following weekend we will be in Plymouth. November, we are doing Lincolnshire, Sheffield, Gloucestershire and Portsmouth. And the Portsmouth one will be great because it'll be JV with all his besties playing
Mark
in the
Edwards,
band.
all the guys that played on the Christmas album that many of you just love so much. And there'll be 3 of them there with me, and we'll be having a great evening.
Exactly. And then the Christmas one will be on the 2nd. We'll be in Stoke Gifford. So lots of dates there. And please come along. Please come along and enjoy them and meet us and just have a great time with everyone. And take your friends too. It's always a great thing to take your friends. You know, I often hear people say afterwards, oh, if I've known it was that good, I'd have brought my friend. So don't be that person. Take them already.
Exactly. Don't be that person.
Okay. Right. So we are going to be carrying on with these evenings if we can. So as you can see, we are here tonight and we will be here next weekend, all being well. And next weekend, we haven't got a guest planned.
No, it's just going to be
the two of us.
Maybe Zooming somebody.
Okay, right.
Zooming somebody in.
And then in October, we're doing Sue and Aldi on the 9th. We're going to have a guest in on the 16th, yet to be confirmed, and the lovely Bryn on the 30th. So we got 3 in October, and then in November we've got the 6th of November, the 20th we've got Steve and Becca Legg joining us, and on the 27th our good friend Ian Hamilton
from Compassion UK, the charity. Beautiful.
And then a great one to tune into will be the 4th of December with Mark Edwards, and hopefully the 11th we'll have some kind of Christmassy thing. I think
we've got to plan that.
That'd be good. That would be really good. We haven't planned it yet, but we will. So yes, we are continuing where we can. Obviously, if we find that we are running out of steam, then we will let you know. But that's our sort of plan at the moment. If you are watching us on YouTube, thank you. And if you haven't yet liked Jonathan's page in YouTube, then please do. All you need to do is go to the Jonathan Veira page in YouTube and click on the little blue thumb and also tap the subscribe button. And that will mean that we get more and more numbers added to our page. And that means that we can do more and more things with it. It doesn't cost you a penny, but it just means that we can get access to other things that we can then share with you. And we are cooking up an absolute storm for this autumn.
We are.
JV Live on Location, I think we're going to be calling it, or JV on Location, when Jonathan's going to be trying his hand at a few things. I'm not sure.
So if you've got any ideas about things that you do, okay, in your business life or your hobby life, and you think actually it'd be worth us coming and filming you doing it and then getting me to try and do it as well. If it involves electric machines or drills
no
or
electricity,
anything,
please.
Then, but if you've got any ideas, okay, and it's not too far, I can't travel to Scotland to do, I don't know, plastering. So, but
we've got a few ideas.
We've got a few ideas of things that will make you laugh, and but also in things of interest. So, here we go.
If you wish to contact me about anything, I'm on sue@jonathanveira.com. If you want to ask me about what it means to put on a show with Jonathan, coming to your church, I've got information I can send you. If you want to ask me about buying CDs or whatever, then
which we'd love you to do. Look, see behind you. Look, collections.
And also, if you want to buy CDs, want to look on the website, listen to them, then it's jonathanveira.com that you need to go to. There is also a calendar on that page, and on that page I try to update all the information to do with the shows, how to buy the tickets, how much the tickets will be, etc. So that's where you need to go to find out information, but if not, just contact me on sue@jonathanveira.com, and that will be simple enough. Thank you so much for those of you who have been contributing to YGAF, our Got a Friend Trust. It's really being used to just touch people and just help people.
Oh, and we got an update the other day, and then 48 gifts have been given. Thank you for those who administer it, for Adrian, for Jonathan, for Deborah and Colin, and who work tirelessly to help people in need. And if you are in need, people, if you are, am I looking at this camera or that camera?
No.
That one. If you are, or you know somebody that could do with a helping hand, an arm around, we can't pay their mortgage, but we can just give them an encouragement, something, a new washing machine or something they need, or some help with a bill or something like that, then come to us. If you feel embarrassed about writing directly, then come to us, Sue or Jonathan, and we can help you and direct you towards You've Got a Friend Trust that continues and will continue. And if you feel like giving to that, we obviously we're not involved in that. By law, we cannot be. And that's why we have trustees. And they are very trusted trustees, okay? And they don't they don't get a penny for what they're doing. Everything, literally every penny goes to people in need.
It does.
And during this time, this is what we want to do. Show me to the alley, show me to the afflicted ones, the ones that have lost their way. That's what that song is about. So, YGAF, if you need it or you know somebody who does, then get in contact with us.
Absolutely. Last but not least, many of you have joined something that we have become very attached to, the Jonathan Veira community. And this is just a lovely, safe place for people to just put up posts about how they're feeling, also to put up posts to make us laugh, to make us think. But it's a great safe place for people, and I know a lot of people have been valuing it. I was very struck when I was reading this little book earlier on this week about all the sort of things that the Queen said when she was talking about, when she was usually doing her Christmas address. And apparently in her Christmas address in 1974, she said, "It is time to recognise that in the end we all depend upon each other, and that we are therefore responsible for each other." Wise words, and words that are lived out in the JV community virtually.
We hope that's what we
day.
attempt to
Yes,
do. We may fail.
It's
from
about
time
being
to time,
kind.
but
It's about being
kind to each other, and,
yes,
and that's what you're doing.
It's about being supportive, and you are,
That's what you're
which is
doing for
fantastic.
each other,
So
and
thank
that's
you.
lovely.
That's brilliant.
That's brilliant, Sue. And I think actually, do you know, I think it's time we got our Chris into the
Okay,
studio.
so let me
Let's
find.
watch a little bit.
Hang on, let me
Actually,
just
while we're
stop that,
doing
and
it, let's find the next song, and it's a little very favourite of many, and I know definitely of John Bounds. Have we got it?
Which one do you want,
I
darling?
want the one that's scheduled, my love.
This one, Moments.
Moments. And so, a favourite of John's. Here it goes.
These are the moments that we love so well, precious moments caught within a spell. All too soon our lives, they fade away. These are the moments that we wish would stay. And if I had my life to live again, I would choose to be with you, my friend. Time moves slowly, yet it goes so fast. And who knows how long our days will last. So cherish deep within you the love you'll get today, and let the moment linger, for tomorrow steals that away. Tomorrow steals that away. These are the memories that we weave so well. Lives like stories that we long to tell. When we're old, we're not too much to say. We'll have the memories that we made today. We'll have the memories that we made today.
Well, what lovely! I love that video. Well done to the guys who made it. It was just a beautiful. Now, what was it? It was Rachel and Nathan, wasn't it?
It was Nathan from Her Work, wasn't it?
Yeah, Her Work. And it was a beautifully constructed, and it's a great song by Bryn Howarth, who's coming into the studio.
I have to say, there was a shot of you early on, and I thought, oh gosh, you didn't look at all well then.
I wasn't.
You suddenly look really healthy in comparison.
Really?
Yeah, really good. Yeah,
well, I
really
was very
good.
unwell,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
I?
you were.
Actually, I'm nearly dying on that
Yeah.
one. Anyway, enough about all that. Now we've got a very, very special experience for you, and you out there in JV land. We have a man that we only met a few weeks ago.
We did.
And Sue, tell about the circumstances that we met. Actually,
Yes, it was very interesting. Actually, we were travelling up to Scotland. If you remember, we went up to Scotland. We did a number of shows,
concerts, yeah.
and we were on the way up. We thought, we'll stay overnight. We won't do the whole trip in one day. So we stayed overnight in the T-Bay Hotel, didn't we?
It was.
And we'd just finished dinner, and we came through the foyer, and there were a couple sitting there, and they had 2 or 3 little pug dogs with them. And of course, I'm a bit of a sucker for little dogs and so on. So I stopped to talk to them, and I ended up sitting down and talking to them. And by the time Jonathan came through with my drink, that was it. We were deep in conversation. And so this was the way that we met lovely Sarah and Rupert. And
if you're watching, hi.
Hello.
Nice to see you. Well,
Anyway,
lovely people.
We had a lovely conversation with them, and during the conversation, transpired that Sarah owned this livery stables. Is that
Yes.
right? Something like that. In near
Sussex.
in Sussex somewhere. So the ridiculous thing was that we were hundreds of miles away, but we'd met some people who lived 40 minutes drive from our front door, and so we ended up having lunch with them a couple of weeks ago.
Beautiful lunch it was too.
Beautiful lunch,
Really
beautiful
lovely.
lunch, and really lovely to go and see them again. And they
I think
said,
it's called luncheon.
luncheon.
actually,
It was
as well.
luncheon,
Yeah.
and there was this lovely couple that also lived near them in one of their cottages, I believe, and that's how we met Christopher and Mai.
And Christopher and I'm welcoming the best-selling author, lovely guy to boot, and definitely a brother from another mother, Christopher Winn. Is it Chris or Christopher?
It's Chris or Christopher, whichever you prefer.
And I'm anyway. Welcome to JV
Thank you
Live from
very
the
much.
Steinway room, and it's lovely to have you here, Chris. So, how you doing? How you doing at the moment? How's work going?
Work's going slowly, but it's going. It's going. As you know, in the sort of freelance world, that you're up or you're down.
Yeah.
You're never in between. You're
Yeah.
either up or you're there. But no, it's going well. But it's a strange time at the moment, isn't it? We're all feeling slightly fragile, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm still slightly recovering from your glorious singing just
Oh.
now. That
bless you.
really touches the heart.
Thank you. That's very kind. That's very kind.
Of course, you've
to
not
say.
experienced it before.
I suppose
have
you've
you?
not. No, you've not really. No.
No, this is a new experience.
Well, yes. I mean, we try to. We do what we can. And I have to say that the reason that you're here is not just because. I mean, I did feel a soul connection. One of those things where you meet people and you go, I like this person. He has. It was a heart connection, wasn't it? And I think with your lovely wife, Mai. And it was in that wonderful 6 group, there was such a variety of experiences, cultures. Your wife is Japanese, and so that was a fantastic thing to do straight away. And then she's an artist, and I have plans for Mai. If you're watching,
You
I've got
know that we
plans.
talked about JV on location. Well, guess where he's going?
He's going to go. Now, she's an artist and an engraver and just a wonderfully talented artist and designer. So we met, and then we got onto you, really, after talking about my freelance career, and we're all freelancers together, and suddenly you talked about being an author, and I thought, well, what kind of books are you writing? Now, you gave me, this is one of many adverts that I'm going to have, and I think actually what you've not done, you've not brought the books in, which we will do in a minute. We'll get them in a second whilst we're having a video or something. But this book, it's called I Never Knew That About, and he has done 16 best-selling books. Okay, these are fantastic books because they are factual books. Now, tell us first of all. Well, we'll come back to you in a second. But these, why? How did you get to write them? What was the beginning of them?
Well, it goes back a long way, actually. I've always loved little tales, strange tales.
Yes.
I've always loved driving around England or Britain, Scotland, Wales. Just loved driving around and stopping off at places and learning something about them. And I think places become much more interesting. Even the most sort of bizarre or banal places become really interesting if you know the stories behind them.
Yes.
And I think it started when I grew up in a lovely old manor house called Cowley Manor in the Cotswolds.
Wow.
Which is now run as Jessica Sainsbury runs it as a luxury hotel, sort of spa hotel.
Goodness.
But when I was growing up there, my father was the bursar of it, or the warden, I think it was called. It was run by Gloucestershire County Council as a conference house.
Right.
And so I grew up in this lovely house. It was a big Palladian house with 50 acres of the most beautiful grounds and everything. And one of the things I learnt when I was living there is that it was in the grounds of this wonderful house that Lewis Carroll first met Alice Liddell.
Oh my goodness.
Because her uncle was a curate at the lovely old Norman church right next to the house. And they think it was in that garden that they saw the rabbit disappear down a hole, which inspired him to have them.
Cool.
And so there was that wonderful story, plus the fact that the house was built by a chap called Sir James Horlicks, who'd invented a milky drink called Horlicks.
Here we go.
With the proceeds.
Here we go, and we're off
We're off.
straight away.
And so just all these little stories add up, and I just loved, and also the fact that running through the garden was the River Churn,
Yes.
which is another possible source of the River Thames, because it never dries up, and it's further away from the mouth of the Thames.
Yes.
So a lot of people would call the River Churn the
source
of the Thames, rather than Thames Head, which is down near Cirencester.
Yes. Yes.
So all these little stories added up, plus the fact that in the next door village, Dick Whittington's mother was buried.
You're joking.
And the next door village...
I've never grown. I mean, nobody's for any interest or where we live. I mean, literally, there is nobody.
Well, they probably are, you see. You just haven't investigated.
I see. That's
And,
it.
because I had too much time on my hands.
So
And
you
then
started investigating.
started investigating the next door village, the other way, a place called Colesbourne Park.
Yeah.
And Colesbourne Park has the finest snowdrop display in the country. It's absolutely fantastic. And it was built on the proceeds of a chap called John Elwes, who was a terrible miser. So he didn't buy this place. His son bought it. He was a terrible miser. He literally used to make a glass of wine last for a month. And he used to shamble around in the most terrible clothes. And when people threw him a penny, he'd pick it up and keep it and everything. And he was the original model for Scrooge. So Scrooge
Dickens.
So Dickens used him as the model for Scrooge. And so in that tiny little village, that tiny little Churn Valley, there were all these. There was Dick Whittington, there was Alice in Wonderland, there was James Horlicks, and there was John Elwes, the miser who became Scrooge.
Do you know? I mean, this is just so. I mean, basically, I described you as a kind of factual pedant. Would that be? I mean, I was reading the book, and let me just say, everybody, you have got to go and get these books. I mean, I am going to just really hard sell this. They are going to be Christmas presents, I'm telling you, for all your family, because wherever they come from, wherever they live, he's written a book about them. So I didn't know. I never knew that about the Thames, Scotland, Wales, Ireland.
So, for example, we were in Southend yesterday doing a concert, and Southend has the longest pier in the world, folks. A longest pier in the world. And how do I know that? Well, it's in Chris's book.
Here it is. So tell us about Southend, just so that the people in Southend who are watching.
Southend is a wonderful place. Southend is the south end of Prittlewell, which is actually the little village there. So Southend is
that
not really
why it's called Southend?
Yes, it's the south end. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You know, at the end of this, I'm going to just go. I'm going to be so filled with little facts. Do you retain all these?
No, I don't. That's why I have to write them down. People think I'm going to be very good in a quiz, but I literally cannot remember. Because one thing goes in one ear, it pushes something else out the other ear.
Yeah.
I have to write everything down. But I just love it. I just find it utterly fascinating.
We're coming back to these books because I'm more fascinated straight away. You know, we've had 100 shows and I've had something like 80 guests or something like that from people of faith, people of no faith. We've had people who run Dogs for Autism in here with all their dogs and that kind. So we try and go a very broad spectrum. What I'm always interested in, Chris, and it does genuinely motivate me, is how we started. Now, you and I, it does feel like we're brothers from a different mother. Both had difficult times at school and all of that kind of thing. Very few friends at the start. And when did it start for you? How did you start in your education and heading towards this and going from... You went to a private school that I knew, my son taught at.
Yes, I went to Dean Close School in Cheltenham, which was
that my dad taught in for 2 years. Is that right?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
And so tell us where it's kind of...
I don't know. Well, I decided I didn't... My father wanted me to have a job with a pension. So...
You've really failed him, haven't you?
Yes,
I hate to say this right now.
Yes, I
Your
have.
dad's very disappointed.
I can never retire because I don't have a pension. And I always said to him, well, by the time I get to that age, there won't be pensions anyway. And that's not totally untrue. Not wrong.
Far from the truth.
But so I joined a bank, Barclays Bank, and I worked in a branch in Fleet Street.
Yes.
And I had to sort out the checks of Morecambe and Wise.
Oh, dear.
They had their account there and everything. But so I lasted 3 weeks. Because I went downstairs one day. My job was to sort the checks from A to Z. You know, you sort of went A to L and then M to Z or something like that. And this got a little bit boring after a while. And I went downstairs and there was a sweet girl on the counter downstairs. And she said, you know, I think they like you here. You're doing really well. You know, in about 3 years' time, you can have my job on the counter, probably. I thought, no, I can't do this. So what I did is I went away and I became a motor racing driver.
Sorry?
Which is what you do if you leave the bank.
Just run that bit by me again. This is going to be a long interview.
It's going to be a very long...
We'll be here
I'm normally being chucked out by about this time of the interview.
So you went, what, Formula One or...?
That's what I would like to have got to. A Formula Ford, F-O-R-D, is how you start. So I went and practiced down at Brands Hatch.
Yeah.
And I wasn't bad, actually, despite the fact that I have no idea how a car works. If it stops, then I have to scream for the mechanic. And I also have very bad vision. But apart from that, I was really made for it. Yeah, I was really, yeah.
So how long did that last?
Well, they had something called the Formula Ford Festival.
Yes.
Which about 120 people from all over the country come and join. And I came 7th, which was really pretty good. So they brought me up on the stage and they said, where do you live? And I said, I live at Lambeth Palace. Because I did at the time.
Here he goes. Here you go again.
Which we'll go into later. But Lambeth Palace, which the Archbishop of Canterbury's home in London, on the River Thames. And they said, well, you have won, for coming 7th, 3 years subscription to Playboy magazine, which will turn up every month at Lambeth Palace. So,
you couldn't write this.
This is not, I mean,
seriously. I have to say, and everybody loved it, of course. The place collapsed, and I was a star. At least so afterwards, when it all finished, I did have to go and say, well, actually, do you think we could change it to a small cheque or a bottle of brandy or something?
Or Private Eye or something.
Or something, yes, or the Spectator or something, which they did.
Well, Archbishop of Canterbury, I don't know. You might have gone. Hello.
Well. Yes, no, it was Don Coggan. He wouldn't.
Oh, he definitely would not. No,
he was a lovely man. He was a Superman. He was absolutely Superman. Yeah. So basically, I went practice motor racing driver, and I then had I was in a race up at Snetterton in Norfolk, which is a circuit up in Norfolk, and I had quite a bad accident. Basically inexperienced. A chap came out of the pits sort of into me, and instead of just going around him like that, I skidded into the wall, broke up the car, and I had to pay quite a lot of money to get this car fixed. So I started writing about motor racing instead. And
Much
that's how
safer.
I
Much
started.
safer.
Much
So
safer.
you'd have to get in the car, right?
So that's sort of where the writing came from. I'd always quite liked writing and things.
Have you done it at school? Did you go to university to do it? Or?
I didn't go to university at all. I could have gone to university, and that's perhaps the biggest regret I have in life, because I don't really regret anything I've done in life, because it's brought me where I am now.
Yes, yeah.
But I could have gone to university because I was fed up with being at school.
Yeah,
You know, and I thought it would be at
wasn't a
school.
pleasant
It
experience.
wasn't a pleasant experience. So I thought, no, I want to get out into the world and do other things.
Yeah, well, I don't. Can I just tell you right now? I think you're fine without it. University
Absolutely.
is only it's a thing, and it comes and it goes,
goes,
and
yeah.
actually it doesn't look at what you've done.
Well, yeah, I
Without
think
it.
it helps you to formulate arguments better.
Yes,
And I
true.
think you make friends at university that you probably don't make anywhere else. Apart from that, I was always very jealous of the Cambridge footlights people, because I would love to have done that. I
Yeah.
would love to have been, whether I'd been any good, I don't know, but I love the idea of all those
Yeah.
students coming together and
Yes.
creating these fantastic comical worlds and
Yes,
things.
yes, yes, yes.
So that's my only regret. But anyway, that's how I got into writing. And it took
then?
me a long time to get to the books, because I had to do all sorts of different other different things. So then...
What else did you do? What then? After you're writing for whom? You're writing.
So
for
I'm
freelance?
writing for magazines and,
Ah, right.
and sort of making a poxy living at some sort, you know, sort of writing. And then at the time I was living, as I say, at Lambeth Palace, and I was living. My bedroom was the room.
Why were you living at Lambeth Palace?
Okay, yes, because my father was the bursar there. He turned on from being at the bursar at a conference house in the
Conference
Cotswolds,
to-
Hurley Manor. He then went to Lambeth Palace,
God.
became the bursar for Dr. Coggan.
Yeah.
And my bedroom was actually the room in which Cranmer compiled the prayer book. So I like to think that's where I get my writing,
wow.
because I think the language in the prayer book is the
fantastic.
best,
Beautiful.
Yeah.
finest language
Yes, it is.
ever.
Yeah.
It'll never be topped. But
no.
it was a little room in a sort of 14th century tower called the Cranmer Tower, just above the chapel
Yes,
at Lambeth.
yes, yeah.
And it was the most wonderful place to work, because it was quiet. You had beautiful view over the gardens and over the river to the Houses of Parliament. And
actually, well, also just a little note on Cranmer, for those of you who don't know, Cranmer, he was the one who coined the phrase "to be understood of the people," and that's what he was absolutely keen for, the words of God in the Bible and in prayer books to be understood of the people, because many of the words in Latin were not understood, so that was one of his big things, to be understood of the
and he succeeded, didn't
And he
And
succeeded
how, in the most-
at that time. It was very
Yes.
strong. Anyway, go on now.
So,
Stopping it.
so I was living at Lambeth Palace, and since we're sort of in the mood for sort of royal stories,
Yeah,
I've
tell
got
us,
a
yes.
couple of stories, because of course one met everybody there.
Yeah.
And I did things like I sat on the gatehouse and opened the gates for people to come and go, and I buttled for special occasions. And
Buttled.
I played
Butler.
butler.
Oh, sorry. Do you know, I was thinking, sorry, I can't. No, but buttled, yes.
Battled for various occasions and things, but I've seen the Queen from a distance quite a lot, up on the balcony and
Yeah.
driving past and all the rest of it. But one day in 1977, in the Silver Jubilee, I actually met the Queen twice in one day, in two
Wow.
completely different circumstances.
Goodness.
She probably never knew that. Luckily for her. But anyway, it was the Silver Jubilee, 1977, and she was making a progress up the River Thames. And she stopped off at something that was then called the South Bank Gardens, which are where the London Eye is now, and
Yeah.
between the London Eye and the
Yeah.
Festival Hall. And she was stopping off with the Duke of Edinburgh, stopping off at the South Bank Gardens. They were going to be renamed the Jubilee Gardens in honour of her Jubilee. And so I happened to be working in the gardens at the time as a gardener. And we were all the gardeners in the South Bank Gardens were lined up in a row to be presented to the Queen.
Yes.
And we were all standing there in our donkey jackets with our spades to attention and something. And I remember she came along the line, and sort of smiled at people, and then she came to me and she stopped. And I remember just standing there, and there was this, I'm quite small, but she is petite,
Tiny, yes,
petite.
yeah.
And there was this exquisite figure standing in front of me, the most famous woman in the world. And she's so beautiful, and like a porcelain doll. And she looked up at me with those incredible eyes, and she gave me one of her electric smiles. And, so literally everybody else faded away.
Yes.
It was just me.
Just you.
And she said, forgive me, ma'am, but, and what do you do here? And I froze. My eyes bulged. I could hear rushing sounds in my head. And I made a sound a bit like a bleating lamb that has lost its mother. And she shimmered and moved on.
Yeah.
And I'd blown my occasion, and 2 steps behind, his usual 2 steps behind, was the Duke of Edinburgh.
Yes.
And he leant down to me and he said, "Don't worry, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here either." And they moved away. And
This is what we're talking about celebration, Sharon. That's what we were saying right at the beginning of the show. This is, I mean, what a...
So, I then had to get out of my donkey jacket and rush back along the river
Yes.
to Lambeth Palace,
Yes.
where I was living, where my father was the bursar, and
Yeah.
where she was going to be visiting in the afternoon. She was going to call on the Archbishop in the afternoon. And the whole thing was set out that she would come in through the gatehouse. There's this lovely 15th century gatehouse
Yes.
called Morton's Tower.
Yeah,
You'd
know it
come,
well.
come in through there, and then you'd go in through the courtyard, and you'd have the oldest fig tree in England on the left-hand side,
Yes.
planted by Cardinal Pole.
Yes.
And then you go across the court, you come to these big double doors,
Yes.
which swing open, and you're then confronted with a set of wide stairs, which you climb to the top of, and there everybody would be waiting for her at the top to be presented. And as all these things happen, you've probably seen, everything we've been watching the last couple of days, everything works seamlessly.
Yeah.
It's though by clockwork, and you never see it happen, it just happens. And so my job for that afternoon, once I'd got out of my donkey jacket and put my suit on, I think, was to be the unseen hand that opened the double doors as she and the Archbishop arrived. And they would swing open seamlessly, and she would walk up the stairs and be presented to people, and then I'd rush up the stairs and go to the back of the queue.
Yes.
So I practiced this for weeks and weeks
That-
and weeks, because each door had a big iron bolt.
Yeah.
4 of them, 2 at the top, which you'd pull down, and 2 at the bottom, which you'd pull up.
Yes.
And then you could swing them open, and they'd be latched. They'd attach themselves to a latch so that they didn't close again. And the timing had to be perfect. You had to pull one and sort of give the other a sort of swing so that it fell back. And I say I'd practiced this for weeks and weeks. I had it down to perfection. So come the day, there was a little peephole in the door that I could look through. And I saw that there was nothing happened. Then suddenly there was a wave of girlish laughter coming,
Yes.
because it turned out there were some girl guides in the waving flags and things who were going to be presented as she came across the courtyard. And that slightly threw me, because when I was growing up in Cowley Manor, I used to have to read the lesson in church.
Yes.
And next door to Cowley Manor, there was a girl guide camp, and they all used to come to church. And I used to have to stand there reading the lesson in my little shorts, and they'd all giggle.
So you were thrown
although
straight
I
back.
was much older by then, I was thrown straight back to that moment. So for a moment, things went a bit black. And I saw, because I hadn't expected, nobody told me that was going to happen. But anyway, I pulled myself together and I watched them approach. So the Archbishop was in his archiepiscopal purple, and she was in this wonderful sort of pale blue, and they were waving and being given flowers and chatting to the girl guides and everything. They got nearer and nearer and nearer, and I had the exact moment when I was going to open the door.
Yes.
They got nearer and nearer and nearer, and I could see them growing bigger and bigger through the, it was slightly magnified, and they were getting closer and closer. So I thought, right, now's the moment. So I hauled on the bolt. Nothing happened.
No,
Absolutely nothing happened.
No, I'm feeling sick now.
Nothing happened. And I watched them getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And I thought, any minute now, there's going to be a royal bang, and the royal nose is going to go into the gate. Because in 1,000 years of royal history, the doors have never not opened in front of the Queen. So as you're getting closer and closer, and I still wake up at night dreaming of this sometimes, these 2 faces sort of floating in front of me, closer and closer, and nothing, I swung off it, I hit it, I swore at it, I ran at it, it would not budge, and then suddenly, when literally I thought, this is it, it's the tower for me, there was a whirring sound, and somebody came hurtling down the steps, pulled one bolt down, which freed my bolt, which pulled up the other 2 bolts, and the doors swung open seamlessly, and they walked in as though nothing had happened. And they walked up the steps, and I just hoped they didn't hear the sobbing sound from behind one of them. But what had happened was her protection officer, who was a lovely chap called Michael Trestrail in those days, had seen what was happening, hurtled down the stairs and helped me open the doors. And I got away with it.
Thank
But
the Lord for
thank
him.
the Lord. Yes, I mean, he's no longer with us, unfortunately, but I will forever be grateful to him
What a
for that.
great story.
And then I was presented to her at the top of the
Oh, you
stairs
were-
later.
oh,
She
no.
had no idea.
What do you? And so what? Do you hear, young
Thank
man?
goodness she didn't
I
on
opened
that.
doors, or not, as the case may be.
And the door opener.
So poor Queen had to cope with me twice on her Silver Jubilee. But, she was able to cope with anything.
What a great story.
Fantastic
I
story.
hope people are enjoying
They
this.
are absolutely loving it.
Chris, you're worth a whack. I mean, what a group of
Very
stories.
entertaining,
Should we
thank
sing?
you.
I think I'm singing. I'm going to sing a song. Do you think?
What do you want to do?
I quite fancy Danny Boy, actually. Should we do Danny Boy? I just fancy a bit of a. I'll do a little bit of Danny Boy. Danny Boy to Broadsword, Broadsword to Danny Boy. Do you remember that one? That was the Eagles. Eagle has landed. Eagles Dare.
Yes,
Broadsword to Danny Boy to Broadsword. Richard Burton Clint, that's
Yes.
the one. See, I knew nobody else knows what I'm talking about. Whenever I do Danny Boy, here we go. So,
Are we doing
Danny Boy. We are doing backing track. And no, listen. We'll sing this one because it's a little bit sad, but it's a beautiful song, and I just love singing it. And Mark's done this great arrangement. Here we go. Very different.
Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you must go, and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's oh, when the valley's hushed and wild is snow, and I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. But when you come and all the flowers are dying, if I am dead, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say a little prayer for me. And I shall and all my grief will warm sweeter be. For you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me.
Well, not a dry eye in the house now.
Well, did you enjoy that?
I did.
It's a lovely song, isn't it?
Absolutely gorgeous.
It's a beautiful arrangement. We're going to do it, and it's very difficult to do it again. You know, when you do covers of songs, but that song is so loaded, actually, for many people, and for people who are living in Ireland. For some, it's very difficult to sing. Obviously, in the Protestant community, find it difficult that one because it's an Irish, an old Irish song. But I find the beauty of it is just quite extraordinary. What were you going to say?
No, I was actually going to pick up on what Chris was talking about earlier. I'm sort of keen to know what came next for you, because we're all hanging on every word. I mean, goodness knows where you could be shot to the moon or something, for as far as we know. I mean, what
is the next
what's
thing?
next?
Well, the next thing, after a short and decorative break, was I became card boy for Terry Wogan on his TV chat
Tell us
show.
what the card boy for Terry Wogan. How did it?
Well, when he started off the show, they weren't quite sure, the producers, how to communicate with him, because he didn't want to use cards, which some people do. He didn't want to put his glasses on. He didn't want to use cards. He didn't want to have an earphone with the producers jabbering in his ear.
No.
So they decided to do what they do in America, actually, is they use these big, what they're called idiot boards, or cue cards.
Used them a lot,
Yeah, and so I, for 10 years of his, or whatever it was, 8.5 years of his chat show, I was his card boy. So I would write out all the questions. I'd go into the planning meetings beforehand so that I knew what was going on. And I would write out all the questions, and I would go with him through the interviews. And if he went off, off-piste, which he quite often did, and needed bringing back, then I'd have to make up questions as we went along.
So you were writing them out?
So I was writing them out as, But it was fabulous, because I was right there. I was right next to the camera looking at him.
Yes.
So I was right in the heart of it all, and it was live television, literally live television. There was no delay or anything.
No.
It was so exciting, and you knew that if there was anybody in the news, anything going on in the news, you were going to meet them.
Yes. So you met everybody.
So I met everybody in those days, and it was just, I loved it, and I miss it terribly. And they don't really do live television anymore.
Well, actually, Chris, what I was going to say was, can we employ you to help with JV, because I need someone to hold up idiot boards to keep him on track occasionally.
I think he might be too difficult. I mean, Terry Wogan was difficult enough.
This is what we call, and everybody will know, in the JV community, after 2.5 years, right, of award-winning this show, it doesn't matter how award-winning it is, that is called the work of fiction. Because
Yes, indeed.
it bears very... Last week was the only time, I think, since we started, because it was the 100th, and we had to get so many different videos in, and people's well-wishers and famous people and not famous people coming in and saying, well done and great. So it had to be scripted. And the lady Rachel, who may be watching or may not be watching, Rachel and Claire, the tech team, and Ben, they determine what's going on, and they're often in the Zoom room. So we did a lot by Zoom during the lockdown. We couldn't get people in. So they were entertaining people in the guest room and then bringing them in, like that. And so actually they would constantly, she'd be writing to me here, like the idiot board, and saying, would you stop it? Would you do this?
Move on.
Would you do that? I've got to take my tablets in 10 minutes,
Yes,
for
you do.
example.
Yes.
So it's right, tablets. So you have to stop and take my kidney tablet. So, but what? Tell us about that. I mean, did you know Terry really well, or
No, well, I got to know Terry very well. I remember the first words he said to me. I did the first show, which was pretty terrifying, I have to admit. It's pretty terrifying, because you're right next to the cameras, and they did interviews from different places, so you had to rush around the set, not get on camera, and sit next to the camera, which might barge you out of the way or anything, so had to be ready for anything. So for the first show, I went upstairs to the green room afterwards, where he would go with all the guests, and we'd have a glass of stale wine or whatever it is up there, and first word he said was, almost legible.
Oh my word! Oh my word!
Which was high praise from him. That was high praise.
Was he a hard taskmaster?
No, he wasn't. I mean, that was his Irish sarcasm. You know, it was
almost,
almost legible.
legible.
I knew I was in then. I knew that I was fine, and I got to know him terribly well because obviously it's quite a close,
intimate
relationship.
It is
there.
a relationship.
And I did every single show, whereas the producers would come and go and do a week on, a week off, or whatever. So I got to know him really very well, and he was the nicest, kindest, funniest.
I mean, he was
exactly what you saw. He was exactly what you saw.
Such a great testimony of a man, isn't
it?
It?
Yeah.
When you see what the Queen is like on a day like today, you see she was who she said
authentic.
she was. Authentic. That word, authenticity, is the word that actually we're trying to be.
Rachel's watching.
Rachel is watching, right? Okay, but authentic is what is probably the crucial word, because when Terry broadcast, everybody listened.
Yes.
Because you went, he's doing this like this.
That's
just he could babble on his Radio 2 show.
Brilliant.
It was
brilliant, actually. It was brilliant, and it just created this amazing community, didn't it?
Yes,
People
it did.
who just
yes.
loved it, and he came up with ideas for him and so on. It was just
But how was he with people? I mean,
very good.
The kind of the people that would write to him constantly. What do they call them? The
togs.
The togs. Yes.
Terry's old guys and geezers, and or something like that. Yes. No, he was terribly good with them because he knew. I mean, because he was authentic, and he knew that these people helped him with his show. They were devoted to him. They were very often very, very funny. They gave him huge amounts of material.
Yes.
And he was very grateful, and he was patient, he was kind, he was funny with them, he treated them like friends.
Yeah.
And he got to know some of them really quite well.
Yeah.
And I think, like the Queen, it's the authenticity and the being himself, the naturalness, is why he lasted so long.
Yeah.
It's why the Queen lasted so long.
Yes.
Because they don't burn themselves out, they're just enjoying being themselves.
Yeah.
And it's a great quality and a great gift, that I think, and a great gift if you know you've got it, if you see what I mean, you could appreciate that you've got it.
I think that's right. I do think actually that in my career it was one thing I aimed for, was that if I think it did try, but I tried to listen to people like Terry, and I learned a lot from his. Since we've been doing this, I'm not an interviewer, but I just love finding out about people, and he always seemed to me like Parkinson. Because he was, for me, one of the gods of the interviewing world. And we weren't sure how Terry would be, were we, at the beginning?
We weren't.
And we were thinking, well, is it just going to be about Terry? And actually, he was interested in people. And that for me, is one of the keys, is that if you're interested in people, and that's me. I'm interested in people, meeting people in Southend. Southend, I love meeting them. I like people up in Scotland. It's nice. And if you go across the Wales, you're going to meet them, aren't you? And it's lovely. And you get to know people and get to find out what makes them tick.
That's right.
When he died, how did it affect you then?
That was a shock. I mean, I didn't cry when my parents died, because I sort of felt they had a very strong faith, and I felt, they knew they were going somewhere better, and I was with them and all the rest of it. But when Terry went, it was a shock because nobody knew. I mean, only his doctor knew that he was really that ill. I'd done Children in Need with him quite often, and he didn't do Children in Need one year, and so we all thought, they said it was back problems, but we all thought, hello, there's something going on here. But no, I have to admit I cried because I just adored him, and it was extraordinary. And I felt not unlike feeling the Queen, that was somebody who you thought was going to be there forever and sort of looked after you, was suddenly no longer there, and you're left feeling slightly rudderless and drifting.
yes.
until you can find your own feet again. So yes, it did affect me quite, and surprisingly, I wasn't expecting that.
No,
Because I'm
profoundly.
usually a cold and unaemotional person.
No, you're not. Well,
I think we find that very hard to
I think,
believe.
yeah, I don't find, there's definitely. I mean, I think it's and actually it's a major part of your life too. You mentioned faith, and I don't. We've not got you in here to talk about faith, but you mentioned it, and I'm interested in how you feel about that, and what with the Queen as she was such a woman of faith. You said earlier that you have a faith, but it's something in public life which now we feel more difficult to talk about.
Yeah.
And those of us who've been in public life, we've found it difficult because remember Campbell,
Alistair Campbell,
Alistair Dreadful Man, saying.
We don't do God. We don't do God. Yes.
And I thought, what do you mean you don't do God? What does that mean? I didn't even know what it meant. No. And I don't think Blair did either, because he clearly did do God.
Yes.
And so it was nonsense, but it felt like toxic at the time.
Yes.
I mean, did you?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, Christians have been persecuted for their faith forever, and I mean, in this country, we're lucky. In Egypt and places, and other countries, they're killed, aren't they?
Yes.
And put in prison and all sorts of ghastly things. But I think it's very difficult. It's very difficult. I think I've got to the time in life now where I don't care anymore, and I'm just going to be honest and upfront about my faith, not try and pretend I'm not, or not talk about it or anything. Exactly.
It's not that you don't believe. It's just that you don't mention it in public. That's the.
Well, it becomes awkward, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, and it leads the conversation in places you don't necessarily want to go.
You believe that? Do
yes,
you?
yes. Or people
slightly...
go off you, or
yes.
or whatever it may be. And I think we all should. There are a few brave people who are standing up and saying, but I think we all should. But it's not, it's not easy. It's not easy, particularly in our professions, as it were, where you're really not supposed to be a man of faith or a woman of faith, or whatever it is. No.
And it's an extraordinary thing that they've decided that for us.
Yes.
And that people feel that they won't mention. I know artists who are Christians, recording artists who are Christians, and who are advised by the record companies not to reveal that.
That's right.
Because that would ruin their image, with Glastonbury or whoever. And you kind of think, sorry? That's what I just said, what? And I just went, no, and I always go, no, that's me. Yeah. I'm a Christian, and I will hold my hand up. Yeah. I'm an artist, I'm a this, I'm a that. But that's the fundamental of my faith.
Good for you.
So I'm happy to hear. I'll just sing one more song. And I think, actually, do you think it should? I think let's celebrate friendship, shall we? With the song that the community recorded. We recorded this with the community. They recorded it whilst in lockdown. They all had their phones and their computers, and they recorded this, did a video of it, and it went viral for a amount of time. You've Got a Friend. We did it here, and to celebrate the oneness of the community and helping each other, and that's why the charity is called You've Got a Friend. Trust. Because that was Sue Rinaldi, a singer-songwriter. She came in and she said, why don't you call it You've Got a Friend Trust? And so it is. It's just basically we can put an arm around people financially if they need it at a time. So we sing this together, and we'll use the backing track because it's got everybody out there where to join in. So if you join in, here we go. Very funky number, this one. When you're down in trouble and you need some love and care, and nothing is going right, close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Oh, oh, oh. spring, summer, or fall, all you gotta do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You got a friend. If the sky above you grows dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind begins to blow, keep your head together now. Call my name out loud. Soon you'll hear me knocking at your door. Now you sing it and I'll take my tablets. How about that? You sing it, are you ready? You just call out my name. Come on, everybody sing. Give it a go. Wherever I am. Come on, a bit louder. Very good. Even Chris is joining in. Excellent. Come on, Chris. Yes, I will. You now, ain't it good to know that you've got a friend when people can be so cold? They'll hurt you and desert you, and they'll take your soul if you let them. But don't you let them. Everybody join in now, you ready? You just call out my name. Come on, choir, that's lovely. Sing. And you know wherever I am, I'll come running. I'll come running to see you again. Oh, 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 winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. All right, everybody, you know your bits. You've got a friend. That's right. That's right. Oh, honey. You've got a friend. My sweet darling. You've got a friend. Oh, honey. You got to catch the video. It's a really good. My son made the video. He's a filmmaker, and it's lovely, really good. And then all the people appear from all over the country, and some all over the world appeared in the video. It was fantastic. Did good. Now here we get the big play out. 1, 2, 3, and now. You've got a friend. 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 And that's the point about this community. That's why we won the award. Actually, it wasn't to do with anything else. That's the BBC award there we got for the Music and Arts Award 2020 for services to the community effectively. I sing a good song, there's no doubt, but you know that's why we won the award. But it was because people suddenly they were connected at a time when there was no connection.
Well, how good to know something good came out of the lockdowns.
Oh, and actually there
So
wasn't
true.
a lot, and it was friendships.
Yes.
It's interesting because interconnectedness, we were talking about that before, weren't we? That there seemed to be people who want to divide and split people up. And that was an interesting concept that you've got there. That seems to be, I mean, you don't have to expand on it, but that's what it seems to be right.
Well, I think a lot of what's going on today is that people trying to divide people.
Yes.
Because families are individual units that are secure and don't need support from anywhere else. So you can't have power over a family in the same way you can have power over individuals and things.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think there are people who want power, and so they try and divide us.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that, they divide men against women and generations against each other and all these things, and races against each other.
Yes.
And I think it's very, very sad.
Yeah.
And I think people are beginning to stand up against it a bit now.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's happening. And it's just lovely that when that kind of song, what it presented was friendship. And I think we celebrate friendship on this channel as one of the central planks.
Ellen Thomas has just said the JV family, and that's how it does feel. It does feel that each week we're welcoming our family back into the room and you know, friends that we perhaps have met, people that we've not met, but you know, it's always lovely when we do meet them. Pat Harris was there last night. It was great to see Pat. Never met her before.
Exactly. So we've seen people coming up and introducing Liz Filer. She came up and said, I said, who are you? And I don't know who they are, you see. They see us every week, but we don't see them. But they comment on Facebook and on YouTube. That's what's happening there. It's a constant flow of chat. Now,
and I have to say, they are very much enjoying your presence in the Steinway room.
They are.
So
You'll be
thank
back.
you very
I hope
much.
you'll come back because
I'd love to.
we've got
And
so
they-
much to talk about. Now,
They are buying his books.
Oh, they're already.
Oh, fantastic.
they're already buying your books.
Oh,
Right, and
I
this
can
one
get through
here.
Christmas now.
This one here is called. I never knew that about the River Thames. So if you want to go on and search, write this down now. So Christopher Winn, Christopher Winn. All right, put that into Google, and it will come up. Now you can buy his books on Amazon.
Yeah.
At Waterstones, they're all available. He is listen guys, we have in the room, so you're just aware, a best-selling author. We don't very often have that. You have somebody like me who writes an odd book. And you've written 15 of the flipping things.
16.
Oh, yeah, don't show off. Nobody likes to show off. Chris.
How many CDs?
Oh, I'd say
23. Hold on, there we go. And 2 books. Chris, can I say that I'm so thrilled to have you in. As you can tell, I'm almost... Right, now, I want you to tell me what made you do this?
Sorry, can I
Sorry.
Sorry.
What?
Only because I'm responding to something on here.
Okay.
A few people already subscribing to your podcast as well.
Oh, excellent.
Which is great, because
That is terrific. That's terrific. I have to say that for certain reasons, I haven't done one recently, but I can assure people that I'm going to restart very, very soon. So I think there are something like 13 or 14 episodes out there, and there are plenty more to come.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Podcast with Chris Winn. All of these things, I'm going to keep saying it until the end, and then I'll say it again. And then, now, Chris, all I want to know is, how did you become, I mean, the pedant that's written 16 books, some of them, one of them especially for Christmas, isn't there?
There is a book of Christmas, yes. As we're coming up to Christmas, I did write a book which explains
traditions and
the traditions and things behind Christmas.
Well, I've got to get that one as well.
Yes.
Do you know what? I'm going to be broke. I am.
But actually, can I just say, everyone, it's very easy. I just went onto Amazon and put, I never knew that about, or Christopher
Or you
Winn.
put
I can't
Christopher
remember.
Winn in,
I
yeah,
put
and
Christopher Winn in, and up he came with all these different books, and I could happily
Select.
browse and choose
And you
the
can,
ones
and I
wanted.
think actually, apart from the JV collections, you're going to be buying the Chris Winn collections as well for Christmas, okay? Because these are brilliant. People, I notice, are buying more books, and they do love a hardback copy.
They do. It's a lovely gift book, I have to
It
say.
really
They
is.
produced
It's so-
it beautifully. Yeah.
And can I just point out that your lovely wife
Yes.
has done all the engravings.
Yeah.
So I think they're too small. I can't show you them here, but they're penciled engraved. Hold on, I'm just going to.
Well, you can show them the cover because she did the cover on that one.
yeah.
So yeah,
There's the cover. Okay.
that's
See
her
that?
work.
And on the back is London or Tower? Well, I can't make
That's
that.
Tower Bridge.
Tower Bridge.
Tower Bridge.
All right. Closer, there we go. And the fronts of Windsor Castle, rather appropriately.
Rather appropriate. Yes, it
Actually,
is. That's
the
true.
rainbow over the.
Yes, there should be a rainbow over it. But I was very lucky because when I wrote these books, when I started, I wanted them to be as sort of passionate about the subject and the countryside and all the wonderful stories as the wonderful Victorian and Edwardian travel books used to be.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
they loved it, and they
Yes.
made everything sound so gorgeous and beautiful.
Yes.
I wanted to do that.
Kind
And
of
so I
Wainwright
wanted an
type
old,
thing.
yes, very much so. And I wanted an old-fashioned feel to it, but I also wanted illustrations, and I didn't know what to do. And so my wife said, well, shall I try black and white line drawings? which turned out to be absolutely perfect because
Brilliant.
there's something about the relationship between print and black and white lines.
Yes, yeah.
And she's captured,
She
despite
has.
being
has.
Japanese, she's captured the Englishness
She
of it.
has. Extraordinary.
And the Britishness of it, the Scottishness and the Welshness of
Yes.
it. It was
I mean,
extraordinary.
how has she
So
done that? What is that in
she's
her?
just brilliant.
She picks up the vibe.
She picks up
doesn't
the vibe. I mean, we go to pretty much all the places, and she likes to see the environment around whatever she's doing a picture of, so she can get the feel for it.
So you must be one of the most travelled people in the country.
We are pretty travelled, yes.
I mean, we are. I thought we travelled a lot.
I thought we were.
We were, but you, because what do you do it by car?
Yeah, yes. I mean, Scotland was wonderful. We bought an old people carrier, and just went round Scotland for 6 weeks,
Oh my
following
goodness.
the sun, wherever we went, and it was just bliss, because it's so exciting to go somewhere for a reason,
Yes,
and
yes.
to explore when you
Yes.
get there and get at the depth of everything.
So
And
do you plan now? Now this is interesting to me because what you're doing, as it were, and it suddenly inspired me, Sue. I mean, I don't know whether I said this to you, but it inspired me to start at Lechlade and and go with your book, like an old-fashioned travel book, like Wainwright,
Yes.
and going across the Lake District. And I just thought I could really do. We started doing this for
cathedrals, didn't we?
and Sue started doing her own. She was my guide, so she would find out about the detail online or whatever, and she'd walk me through. And somebody said, "Would you like a guide?" "No, thank you. I've got my wife." But she planned it.
Yes.
Now, how do you plan these trips?
Well, I mean, first you decide which country you're going to do, and then you do look it up online to give us a rough idea of where we're going to go, where to go, and where the places are. But once you've a very rough outline, and then you go to the place, and you find so much more once you're there,
Yes.
and it will take you to other places, and you talk to people, and then that's when you find the real stories. But you need somewhere to start off. So a framework from the internet. And then just go to these places. And as I say, it's just the research side of it is just bliss, because it's what I've always done. I've always loved doing, driving around the countryside and
Yes.
exploring places.
Yes.
But now I'm doing it for a purpose. And
It's a kind of. It feels to me like you're doing a bit of sleuthing, really, a bit of old-fashioned investigation.
yes, there's a lot of that comes into it.
Bit
Yeah.
of what's his name? Thingy. Who's the famous detective?
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock, a bit of
Bit
Sherlock.
of Sherlock.
Because what it seems to me, and let me just observe it, is that I look at the one thing, and the one thing leads to the next. It feels like you're tripping over stones to get to the next place.
That is the most exciting thing, when you start on a story and it suddenly leads you somewhere unexpected, and
Yeah.
it suddenly leads you, oh, that's what it means. Oh, that's who that was. Oh, things that you've known all your life but didn't know where they fitted into the scheme of things. And when you start a story and it takes you off to all these different places, that's the real pot of gold.
That is fantastic. What about word of mouth stuff? So if you want to,
No,
so
no.
jump in.
No,
at
I
any
am
time
jumping.
because
I'm jumping in. I'm just aware of the time.
What's the time?
It's nearly 1:45.
oh goodness.
Can I just say, folks? My husband said to me earlier on this evening, "I think we'll probably do a shorter show tonight. I'm not feeling having a longer show." He
No,
said
but
we'll
this
probably
is
be done by
fascinating.
9:30.
I don't care.
I rest my case.
I know. We just got to do it, haven't we? So with people, I just want to know about the word of mouth thing. We'll kind of have to wrap it up a bit, but
Save it for next time.
yeah.
Do
Just-
part 2, yes.
But yeah, part 2, definitely. Come back within a few months, because I think we need to have you back to explore more things, actually. But for me, it's the relationship between the oral tradition of things and the facts, cold, bare facts. So you can have an oral tradition within a community that says, oh, Farmer Giles, he lived here in 1725 and his son was this, and then he went on and we found by that gate, right, he did a wee. That was it. That was the story. Have you got anything else? No, that's it. He just did a wee right there. It's very famous. And you can still see it now. So
Talking about gates. Did you know that is how pole vaulting started? It started in a Lake District village called Ulverston.
yeah, I remember about to go and stay there.
Absolutely right. Which is where Stan Laurel of Laurel and Hardy was born.
Yeah.
And
There we go.
the farmers used to leap across their gates on their shepherd's crooks. Because they couldn't be bothered to open the gate, so they go leaping over the gates on their crook. And so the first pole vaulting contest was held in Ulverston. And I think the first pole vaulting champion for many, many years was a man from Ulverston who leapt over his gates with his shepherd's crook. Sorry, I digress.
Can I just say,
digress.
I love that. My cousin who lived in Canada pole vaulted for Canada. So that for me is fantastic. That it started in Ulverston with shepherds going over it. And then my cousin ends up going to the Olympics for Canada.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Really? That's quite something.
Yeah, that was quite a story in itself. So I think actually, but this is what's fascinating. I mean, what I'm gonna do is just randomly, I'm just gonna open the book at random. Here we go, and it's North Stoke. Right, North Stoke. This is from Wallingford to Goring is the the title. Next up, just visible through trees on the left bank, is the early 13th century Church of St Mary, North Stoke, famous for its fabulous collection of medieval wall paintings dating back to 1300. The subject of the martyrdom of St Stephen is unique in the wall paintings of this age in England. Buried in the church is the singer Dame Clara Butt. I mean, who knew that? Right, 1874 to 1930, very famous as an opera singer, who lived nearby at Brook Lodge in the South Stoke. With her powerful and distinctive contralto, Dame Clara was renowned for her range and cavernous lower register. It was a real contralto, and was to possess the most glorious voice ever heard. Her recording of Land of Hope and Glory was the best-selling record of the day. Sir Thomas Beecham declared that on a clear day, you could have heard her across the English Channel. Now, you see,
That's fantastic.
That is just... Now, folks, if you don't buy this book, I'm going to have to come and knock on your door.
Of them, whichever ones that just
Whichever
grab
one grab you. So, I'm just going to give I think it's at the back or the front. Let's see, where is it? Where is it now? It says he's written so many, and I'm just going to highlight them because I need you. They've got a great index, so you can just go and find. What is it you said to me that people always look?
They always look up their own place first.
Yes, well,
their
I did.
Own county or their own hometown.
I went straight to Laleham, and I thought, there's our church where we got married.
I said it's a bit like finding yourself in a photograph, isn't it? You always look for yourself first, and then the beautiful people afterwards.
Yeah.
And you've got. I never knew about England. I never knew that about Ireland. Never knew Scotland, Wales, London, the English, the Irish, the Scottish, about Yorkshire, the Lake District. And I never knew that about Britain, the quiz book. So you can use it for Christmas.
Okay.
I mean, I'm telling you, this is it's like a cure-all for people who are fact lovers.
A great present for the people that you want to give to, but you're not sure what to give them. Yeah,
So,
I think they're great.
Look, just last word to you before we kind of head towards a wrap-up, I'm afraid. Just your thoughts, your final thoughts on this day, on this momentous day, having met the Queen, having been so close to famous people for a lot of your life through Terry and all of that kind of thing. I mean, how do you reflect on it personally now?
I feel very lucky. I feel very lucky that I've never been famous, but I've met a lot of famous people, and I find them fascinating. I'm a junkie for fame. You know, I have to confess that. I've met some wonderful. What is wonderful is meeting the real person, whether it's the same as the person you see on the screen or whatever. And I've met some wonderful, but I think perhaps the most beautiful person I've ever met was Audrey Hepburn, who just radiated beauty in every single sense.
Yes.
She was just gorgeous, and to meet people like that, and I've met my heroes like Sean Connery, James Bond, you know, and I've tried on the Augusta Masters green jacket from Nick Faldo when he won it, and, you know, and just things like that. And I just feel I've been terribly, terribly lucky in life, and I'm really glad that I didn't stay in the bank, that it was a risk, but, you know, I went out to the world and I took whatever the world, you know, I took whichever turning seemed best at the time.
I'd use the word blessed.
Blessed,
actually.
yes.
I would say
yes.
blessed.
I said that at the end of my speech when I got married. I said, "Has ever a man been so blessed?" And I really feel like that.
And well, let me say to you that Mai is also a woman blessed.
She
You are
is.
the nicest man,
couple.
and I think you've learned a lot from the people that your parents.
Indeed. Oh, I owe them everything.
Coggan, you've learned from the church, the church that you're involved in. You've got a faith in something beyond yourself, which is fantastic. And also, it's just your down-to-earthness and you're a very affable man. And so, quite apart from being deeply loved by your wife, clearly, and
Yes, we'll discuss that when we get home.
Yes. It's been such a pleasure to have you in. I'm almost a little bit too excited, all right, because I love people who just ooze.
Well, you are
personality.
very, very, very good at drawing people out, which is wonderful.
Well,
I mean,
it's what-
you could be an interviewer. You could be a Terry Wogan. You really could.
Well, thank you. But I think actually, do you know what? We just love. I think we just love people, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I want to finish with a couple of the songs. Really, I wondered whether we could do "We Rest on Thee," "Our Shield and Our Defender." Can you find that one for me? Which is it's a beautiful and a quite a moving version. And I just want, as we finish, we're going to do that one, and then Sue and I are going to sing "Go Peaceful" and "The Lord Bless You and Keep You," as we've done for the last 100 shows. Now this is show 101, and we always sing this song. And Sue's got her voice back, and so Ish, you've got it back enough to sing that, my love. And it was lovely to hear you. And so we rest on you, our shield and our defender. This is with Mark Edwards, myself on the arrangement, and those of you who don't know it, I think you probably will.
On you, our shield and our defender, we go not forth alone against the foe. Strong in your strength, safe in your keeping, tender. We rest on you, and in your name we go. Strong in your strength, safe in your keeping, tender. We rest on you, and in your name we go. Yes, in your name, O Captain of salvation, in your dear name, all other names above. Jesus, our righteousness, our sure foundation, our Prince of glory, and our King of love. Jesus, our righteousness, our sure foundation, our Prince of glory, and our King of love. We go in faith, our own great weakness feeling, and needing more each day your grace to know. Yet from our heart on you, and in your name we go. Yet from our hearts a song of triumph pealing. We rest on you, and in your name we go. We rest on you, our shield and our defender. Yours is the battle, yours shall be the praise. When reigning in the kingdom of your splendor, victors we rest with you through endless days. When reigning in the kingdom of your splendor, victors we rest with you through endless days. We rest on you.
That was rather lovely. Beautiful.
Lovely, lovely, lovely recording and a lovely version. Tonight we've been so blessed
We
to have what a special
Yeah.
guest.
You've been the perfect guest,
You've been
Christopher.
the
Perfect guest. Thank
And
you.
I know, and I think actually, can we have some hearts and then?
Oh, we've had lots.
If you'd
We've
like
had
to
lots,
see
yes.
Chris again, then just show us the love, and we'll get him back in. He doesn't live too far away, and we're going to keep in touch because he's a man I think you can trust.
Oh, lots of
Love that.
hearts.
So, I think we go like this. Go peaceful in gentleness through the violence of these days. If really show tenderness in all your ways.
Through darkness, in troubled times, let holiness be your aim.
Seek wisdom, let faithfulness burn like a flame. God speed you, God lead you, and keep you wrapped around His heart. May you be known by love.
Be righteous, speak truthfully,
song we've been singing for 101 shows. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you. The Lord bless you and keep you and give you his peace. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you. The Lord bless you and keep you and give you his peace and give you his peace. The time is gone. We're just going to finish now with a little bit, and we'll see you next week. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you. The Lord bless you and keep you and give you his peace and give you his peace. With huge thanks to Chris Winn for coming in.
Thank you, Chris.
Bless you and have a lovely week. God bless.
Have a good week, everybody.